right, everybody, so that takes us to the next part of our agenda. I'm going to be talking to you now about the Pennsylvania Learns financial education courses on iTunes U. Now, some of you may have seen some of this content, or think you've seen some of this content in the past, because I have talked about these courses before, but I'm going to show a bunch of new resources this time. And first I wanted to talk about, well, what is this iTunes U course? You know, is it really a course? And I would say no, not really. Really, what I like to think about these courses as more or less curated, vetted financial education content. So in other words, we've gone out and we've taken a look with a team of educators at a whole host of financial education resources that are out there online, and we've put them together in an organized format that makes it easier for educators and for students to find and access. All of it is organized around the same principles as our model curriculum here in Pennsylvania for financial education programs. Some of you have probably seen this in the past. Some of you, this might be new. All of this is available on our website as well as on PDE's Standards Aligned System, or PDESAS.org. So we have the 6 big ideas, and from that we have organized the contents of both a entire course in personal finance as well as our iTunes U course. So whereas the high school course on iTunes U, excuse me, the entire course for high school that's on SAS focuses on instruction and assessment, the iTunes U course helps to focus on sort of the additional resources, the other fun stuff that you would bring in to add a little bit of spice to your course. So I'm going to focus today on the one that's live right now, which is our high school course. This just went through a major revision over the summer and launched about a month or so ago with a whole bunch of new resources. So we now have over 300 resources. We took some things off, so things that we were like, that was okay, but we found a much better resource. It's all sort of new and improved, if you will. Right now at the high school level, this is the breakdown of those contents. So you can see we have roughly anywhere from 44 to 64 resources per module. Again, those modules are based on the big ideas of our course. You can access the courses one of 2 ways. If you have iPads available in your classroom, you can do it through the iTunes U app, or you can do it without iPads through the use of our spreadsheet that we constantly update. And I'm just going to show you really quickly how you would do each of those. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. Some of you may be familiar with this, or you can get in touch with me if you need a little extra hand-holding later. But basically, you download or access the iTunes U app on the iPad. If you don't have it, you can get it through the App Store. Once you open the app, download and open it, you can go in and search, and if you type in Personal Finance for High School, you will find our course, which is up there in the top left-hand corner. You have to click subscribe, and then you click get course, and that will put the course on what is called your iTunes U bookshelf. So there in the bottom here, it shows you my courses. This is where it will show up. My bookshelf, since taking the screenshot, is much more full. I've got probably 20 courses, so I continue to use this one for this purpose. But when we go into iTunes U, then once you're subscribed, you'll see it there on your bookshelf, and you can go in and you can see the information. So at the bottom, we see this info tab. To get into the sort of meat and potatoes contents of it, you would go into the post tab. And here you'll see how it's organized by the introduction, and then we get into the modules down lower. Now, I traditionally, it's easier for screenshots to be able to turn things the other direction. When I use iTunes U on my iPad, I pretty much always have it in the landscape. So in this direction, I find it a lot easier to use because I can move around over here on the left-hand side from module to module much easier and find the associated posts and resources that way. So again, for the purpose of screenshots, I've got it turned the other direction. But if we go into, say, for example, Introduction to Financial Management, which is the first objective under the Money Management module, you'll see a list of assignments that you can click on and open each of those. And that is how you access all of the different resources. So here you would click on that website and it would open for you. Now again, that's iTunes U with an iPad. So if you have one device, you can be projecting, corded or wireless, lots of different ways to do that, with just one iPad in the room, sort of a one-to-many environment. If you have a few devices in your class, you could have students use these independently or in small group. Or if you're one-to-one, and if you're using an iTunes U management system, you can actually request to have your own personalized copy of the course so that you can make assignments to your individual students, and you can also edit the course that way, picking and choosing which portions you want to give to students. Again, I said before that you can get to it in two ways, so that's the way you can do it with the iPads. Say you're a Chromebook school, or you have a more limited access to technology, or you're just using your own computer. The best way to access the information is to go to our website, themakingsensepa.org. Under curriculum, if you scroll down, you'll find here a section on high school courses. And here you can actually access the spreadsheet form. And that's going to open a Google Doc, a Google spreadsheet that has the entire contents of the course. And so here you'll see at the bottom there's a tab for each one of the modules within the course. And again, everything is there for you, and a nice, easy way to access all of these resources. So again, it's like a curated set of resources that a team of teachers here in Pennsylvania has put together for you to use. So here we see that was Module 1, here's Module 4. And when you, maybe a little bit hard to read, if you zoom in, so it gives you the call to action, the URL, and then some notes about it. You can also access this course, this tracking sheet from within iTunes U, but chances are good if you don't have access to an iPad, you'll want to use the spreadsheet method. The spreadsheet is also the one that gets updated constantly because it's a live spreadsheet as opposed to this PDF that we update periodically. Again, different ways to use it. You can project from your computer once you've accessed a resource, or you can send out via a link the different resources to your students. You might assign it through whatever learning management system you're using, say Google Classroom or some other format. So any way that you get information out to students, you can do it in that manner. Again, we have over 300 resources. In the time that we have left, I'm just going to walk you through what different types of resources we have and show you just a couple of examples. And again, these are all things that are new and the new and improved version. So these are articles and infographics. So let's start with some examples of this. And this will also give you an idea of where some of the resources are coming from. So here's our money management key takeaways. This is from Better Money Habits, where you can look at this quiz. Here we have an infographic on prepaid cards, which is best for you. This is, I divided it into two. This would normally be, these graphics would be one on top of each other, but so you could read it there. I wanted to show it to you. So, for example, you might show this on the screen and have students take a look at it or access it and read the information there. Different things that you can do with these. This one, interestingly enough, is from educationplanner.org. We heard from Marla earlier in the session. So this is a great resource that they are showing the more you learn, the more you earn. Also connected to education and higher ed, why go to college? This is a great graphic that's provided. It actually comes from the U.S. Department of Education using Bureau of Labor Statistics data, and shows the average earnings as well as the unemployment rate for individuals at a variety of different education levels. I think that really does a good job of showing the impact of higher education. Here is one on understanding small dollar loans. So these are things like a car title loan or a pawn loan, things that may be something that you want your students to understand. So that's another one that you can download. This is a PDF that students can download and view. This one comes from bettermoneyhabits.com, and this shows the difference between credit cards and debit cards. This is a really popular topic, how they work, the pros and cons of each, and how they vary based on safety and security. I really love this infographic. You know, one way to give this information is just to have, you know, a big long article that students would read, right? But nowadays we find students are so visual. You know, these infographics are just a great way for students to gather information. So again, you could print this out if you wanted to do it hard copy. You could show it on a screen, you know, send a link to it for students to take a look at. You know, lots of things that you could do with this in your classroom. Here's one on the anatomy of a credit card transaction. This is the infographic on the far on the left, and then part of it blown up here, and it sort of walks through. You know, here's the customer. They go into the store. You know, and shows the flow of the dollars, if you will. And as it says, all this happens in less than 10 seconds when you swipe your card. So it's a nice way, and that's just one portion that keeps going. But it's a nice way to show students, you know, what's happening behind the scenes when they're using plastic. Here's another one that's this on a sort of different topic. This is on insurance. Can you afford not to have health insurance? So that's another interesting one. This one is on teen driving habits. My favorite one of this, maybe it's because I've coached my kids in soccer. The average 16-year-old has had 30 times more hours of coaching in soccer than most states require behind the wheel for an unrestricted driver's license. I thought that was a fascinating statistic, but this has 7 eye-opening facts. So that's a good one. The intended audience of this is parents, but I think it's pretty good for students as well. So you could also certainly share it with parents. So those are the articles and infographics. Let's take a look at some of the interactive types of materials that you'll find in the iTunes U course. This is from the Career Zone website, their budgeting tool. This allows you to take a look at where you live, what kind of house you want to live in, and it goes through a bunch of different lifestyles and then lets you know how much it's going to cost to be able to do that. And here it gives you takes a look at your monthly spending and what it will be, gives you a pie chart, and then your minimum annual salary needed to be able to support that lifestyle. This is another new resource. We did a webinar on this one last spring, but we've linked to the modules from Earn Your Future throughout the course. This has modules at 3 different levels. In the high school course, we're linking to the advanced one. So here you see 6 of the modules on this screen. I focus on credit, risk, home ownership, budgeting, saving, investing, earning, what have you. And this one, there's a video, starts with a video, they have some animation, and then a bunch of interactive features where the students, in this case, are looking at a text conversation back and forth between the main character, Maya, and her brother and her cousin, and then they have to figure out what the impact of different things were on the car insurance or the cost of car insurance. They have to decide whether or not those things lowered the premium or did not lower the premium. So a lot of new and exciting interactive resources that are available now for use in classrooms. We also have a bunch of handouts that are in the course. So here we have balancing a checkbook. So this is one from the Mint, and you'll note here on the bottom, this does not play on the iPad. It requires Adobe Flash. So you can see here that this is something that if you were to use it on the iPad, you wouldn't get quite the same experience in terms of the interactivity. But we also link to a PDF version if you wanted to have students do it that way. The same thing goes with the writing the check. And so here they are in the PDF format. Another PDF or another handout version here. This is a budget blaster that's you'll see Hulk, the Hulk, Incredible Hulk there at the top. This is from Visa and goes along with their Avengers comics that they've put out. So, all sorts of different neat, sorry, this one's from Marvel. They also have Avengers ones. Comparing auto loans. This is a new resource from the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And here it gives you a worksheet to use when you're comparing different auto loans. So these are things that students could use and compare the cost. This is a look at what one of these might look like if you were in iTunes U on the iPad. And what's kind of neat is if you have some different options as to how to use this. One of the things I think is neat is if you use, say the Explain Everything app, you can choose to open these in Explain Everything. And that's a relatively inexpensive app. It's $4, and it allows you to have an interactive whiteboard. So students can open it in the app and then record things. They can write on it. They can resubmit it to you, so worksheets, what have you. A really neat way to do that. And then we have a bunch of videos throughout the course. These are a few of our new ones. And so I'm just going to play a short snippet of this one from, this is Personal Finance 101 Conversations, Banks and Alternatives. This is a little bit longer video, but I'm just going to play the beginning so you can get an idea of what it's like.
Hey, so do you know what payday and title lenders, pawn shops, check cashing, and prepaid cards all have in common? Well, true. They do all have to do with money, specifically your money. And yeah, on any given block in any given city, you might find all those businesses, but there's one other thing they all have in common. Can you guess what it is? Well, it turns out that they all provide financial services that are traditionally provided by banks and credit unions. It also turns out that in almost all cases, banks and credit unions charge much less for these services than the corner shops we see all over town. We can break all these financial services down into the two broad categories of borrowing money and spending money. Let's look at borrowing options first. Payday, pawn, and title loans are short-duration loans that are easy to get. They'll show up at any payday loan shop with an ID, Social Security card, paycheck stub, and bank account number. For a title loan, you'll need your car title, and in the case of
That's just the beginning of this. This is from Econ Lowdown, which is from the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. And it's one of a series of videos that they have there. Another one here from Econ Lowdown. This is on understanding a FICO credit score and how it's determined. So a nice video on that. This one is about 6 minutes long. So a lot of these are great to interject into a lesson, or in some cases to start one off. This one is giving credit to teens. Here's one on understanding stocks. This one is another one from the St. Louis Fed. We've added quite a few resources from that collection out in St. Louis in the most recent update. So again, just lots of different things that you can get to from there. This one from the St. Louis Fed also has a question and answer. And we might do a session later down the road on Econ Lowdown as well, because it has its own great learning management system where you can assign videos and other things to students as well. This one is on Tyler's emergency saving, and we'll play this one just for a second because this one's nice and short. It's only a minute long.
Tyler is turning over a new leaf. After years of careless spending and credit card use, Tyler is finally setting aside part of his weekly earnings to build an emergency savings fund. Just like twin sister Taylor does. It won't be easy to pass up the urge to splurge. But Tyler is committed to working hard and saving to reach his goals. By saving up 3 months' living expenses, Tyler will have the cash he needs to handle life's unexpected costs. When the unexpected happens, Tyler will be prepared rather than buried in debt. Because having an emergency savings fund is always in season. Time is money. Start saving now.
So again, that one's just a real quick one that you could show and sort of, interject within a lesson, what have you. Nice, cute video there. The course also has a number of apps and games that we link to. This is an app from the National Association of Insurance Commissioners, or the NAIC, and it's called Rec Check. And it's one of those you hope you never need, but it's very advisable to have this downloaded onto your phone. If you're ever in an accident, it walks you through all the information that you need to gather. It links to your camera and helps you figure out exactly what you need to do if you're in an accident. So that's a great app for both students and for adults to have. Farm Blitz is another game that's in here. Now this can either be played online using a computer with Flash, or you can download the iTunes app for Farm Blitz. Really cute game. It's similar to what some students are used to playing online, so it's really catchy and sort of addictive for some folks that are really into some of the gaming. But it has a nice personal finance connection here. You pay for seeds, you accrue debt, you earn money by doing your farming. It's a really neat interactive game here. So here, for example, high interest short-term debt can get you into trouble. Your APR just racked up some massive finance charges. That's one of the messages that you get. So you can see that to understand that has some nice personal finance vocabulary. So to understand what's going on, students need to figure out and understand what that means. So here, here's an example of your earnings, the finance charges that you're paying, and the savings interest that you've earned. So those are just some examples of some of the things that are in the current high school course. Very excited that we have additional courses that are in development right now. We have a K-2 course for kindergarten through second grade, a grade 3 to 5 course, and a grade 6 to 8 course that are all under development right now. And we are hoping to get those launched. They're in the queue with the folks with iTunes U to get those rolled out here in the coming months. So I'll be sharing more information when those are available. If anybody has any questions, I will happily take those. But I will go ahead and finish things out here in our last remaining little bit of time.